All right, folks, the 5 former Memphis police officers who beat Tyre Nichols to death made their first public appearance today in court, flanked by their attorneys, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Desmond Mills Jr., Emmett Martin III, and Justin Smith stood before a judge in Shelby County Criminal Court. Through their attorneys, all 5 of them pled not guilty to the charges related to Tyre Nichols' death.
We have a case with the indictment number 2300241. Okay, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen, each of you appear to have retained counsel. I'm going to go down the line of the attorneys. Mr. Massey, are you prepared to arraign the client?
I am, Your Honor. I'm ready for my arraignment. I'm reading the indictment or plea of not guilty. And I score for report.
And just for the purpose of the record, your client's name.
It's Emmett Martin.
I see Mr. Stengel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Demetrius Haley is my client, is present in the courtroom. Wait formal reading of the indictment and for not guilty plea.
Mr. Perry.
Good morning, Your Honor. John Perry on behalf of Mr. Tadarius Bean. At this time, we waive the formal reading of the indictment off to the court. A plea of not guilty.
Mr. Summers, I see you back there.
Yes, Your Honor. On behalf of my client, Justin Smith, Charles Summers, we waive formal reading of the indictment and plead not guilty on behalf of Mr. Smith.
Morning, Judge. On behalf of Mr. Mills, we waive formal reading of the indictment and for a not guilty plea.
Gentlemen, each of your attorneys have entered pleas of not guilty on your behalf. Understand that despite everyone's best effort, this case may take some time. Your attorneys are going to be receiving the discovery. Depending on how voluminous the discovery is, it may take some time for the state to collect it all, to turn it over to your attorneys. For your attorneys to review that discovery, to prepare their motions, and prepare their case. So be patient. Work with your attorneys, cooperate with them, meet with them, go over the discovery. Make sure that if there are any delays, that these delays aren't on account of any of your actions. To those also in attendance, as I've explained to the defendants, this case can take some time. So we do ask for your patience, your continued patience, your continued civility in this case. We understand that there may be some high emotions in this case, but we ask that you continue to be patient with us. Everyone involved wants this case to be concluded as quickly as possible, but it's important for you all to understand that the state of Tennessee, as well as each one of these defendants, have an absolute right to a fair trial, and I will not allow any behavior that could jeopardize that right. So with that being said, we thank you all for being present. State, understanding that there may be some discovery that needs to be collected, we are going to continue this case out a little bit further to make sure that the discovery is concluded. We're going to reset this matter until May 1st, 9 a.m. State, is there anything else?
Your Honor, the only other thing on behalf of the state is I have a protective order as to each of the defendants to allow certain digital discovery video evidence to be provided.
Any objection by any of the counsel?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Massey, is there anything else on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor. We did file our motion for discovery this morning.
All right. Mr. Ballin, anything on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Perry?
No, Your Honor, but we did file a motion for guilt particulars pursuant to Rule 7C, Tennessee Rules of Criminal Procedure.
Mr. Stengel, anything on
Nothing
behalf?
further this morning, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Summers?
Nothing further on behalf of Mr. Smith this morning, Your Honor.
All right, gentlemen, we'll see you back here May 1st on that day. And we will now excuse the defendants and their defense counsel. We're asking everyone else in the courtroom to remain in the courtroom and remain seated until you're excused.
And with regard to everybody else, I would let the court know that their family is here. $400.
Thank you. You all are excused.
Thank you.
Now, the former officers face multiple felonies, including second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. Tyre's mother, Roland Wells, sat in the courtroom as the attorneys for each defendant spoke. Afterwards, she said they're nothing but cowards.
I want each and every one of those police officers to be able to look me in the face. They haven't done that yet. They couldn't even do that today. They didn't even have the courage to look at me in my face after what they did to my son. So they're going to see me at every court date, everyone.
Exactly.
And until we get justice for my son.
Now, the 5 former officers are all out on bond. They'll appear next in court on May 1st. Joe, the thing here, I saw a lot of people on social media going, where are the white cops? Where are the others? First of all, remember, these 2 have been charged with a different crime. Other folks have been fired. So people need to understand. Again, that's why you saw these 5 appearing in court today. They were hit immediately with the second-degree murder charges.
Yes, they were. And so they're all going to kind of run together as it pertains to their hearings with the things that they were charged from, because these are the 5 that were there, pulled him out of the car, chased him down, did what they did, treated him worse than they treat a dog. These were the 5 that did that. As it turns out, the investigations were ongoing, and so therefore other people were let go later, et cetera, and they run on a little bit of a different train. So, we just have to buckle up. This is all going to take some time. Before long, they will start to argue a bit against each other. Already, Mr. Dean's attorney's like, well, my guy just did his job. He didn't hit anybody. Desmond Mills' attorney says, remember that, I'm representing a black man, in a criminal justice system. So, he's going to play that victim thing. But they weren't thinking about any of that when what happened. So it's going to be a long road. Our hearts, of course, go out to this family. But everybody's watching on this one. And when everybody is watching, it makes it a little less likely that there would be fumbles as it pertains to the process, so that once you get to a result, it's a result. Even if you're not crazy about it, you can live with. They have charged them the right way. They charged them second degree. They absolutely should have charged them in second degree. They probably would not have gotten first degree. They should have done it the way that they've done it. And so we'll see. They're out on the street, but it's going to take some time for this to work all this way through.
The thing here, Matt, again, and I get people and their emotions, and they want to see everyone held accountable, but there are different stages here. These 5 have the most serious charges. There are other individuals who have been fired. And so, again, the district attorney has a different decision there as it relates to the role that they actually played in this. People also have to understand the district attorney may be looking at giving folks immunity to possibly testify against the other 5 as well.
Perhaps. But, Roland, actually, in this instance, I don't think immunity would make any sense, because everything's caught on video. So you don't need to leverage anyone against someone else here, right? Because you have the actual offense on video. As it relates to Joe's comment, I actually disagree. I think this is a first-degree murder situation every day of the week. I think it would be very difficult to argue that they were not intentionally, at least in Texas, where I practice, that they were intentionally trying to cause harm to Tyre Nichols. I think they could at least have charged that and gotten a lesser included offense. I think there are a couple other things that are pretty important about this, though. This really brings up a question about a few things. First, the ability to get a fair trial in the age of everything being publicized. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I'm sitting here talking about this instance. I'm also a criminal defense lawyer. And these days, it's difficult to get a fair trial. So this is interesting, because I'm wondering when the lawyers are going to start playing that card in terms of getting a fair trial. And I think that's why you heard the judge say that. I also think what's interesting about this situation is that I think if the jury in Tennessee is able to do punishment, that's going to be a really important barometer for civil rights cases like this going forward. And this is obviously a criminal case, but cases like this going forward, because this carries a range of punishment of 15 to 60 years. I think 50 to 60 years is plausible under these facts and under the heinousness of it. But I think that's really going to be important to show the community and the country at large what jurors are thinking that a case like this is worth. So I don't think you're wrong in terms of people, feeling like the district attorney is maybe moving too slowly on the other cases. But as you heard the judge say, there's going to be so much evidence in this case that I think it's smart for him to set it out a couple months and let them really work through it methodically, so that when the appeals process inevitably comes and these guys are convicted, there's not any question as to whether they got a fair trial and due process.
What often happens in these cases, Michael, are folks who don't really have an understanding of how the law works and unclear. I remember when I was in Texas and people were yelling for first-degree murder charges for the officer who killed Botham Jean. And Ben Crump was trying to explain to people, hey, you need to understand when you're demanding something, you don't actually know how the law works in different states in terms of what the penalties are. And so I've had other lawyers say that what we might think is a lower charge actually might carry a higher penalty. And again, it's just understanding how the law works. And again, for folk who don't do this every single day, they don't fully get that.
You're right, Roland. They don't get it. And one of the things they don't get is the reason why these 5 officers were charged first, because these were the 5 officers who had both scenes. There were 2 incidences that took place that night. These officers were at both incidences, whereas Preston Hempfield, the white officer, he was only at the first incident. He was not at the second one. So when you go through and look at the investigation, you go look at what statements from the police chief, she talked about how these were the officers who had both incidences. They have the most culpability. You just had in the last couple of days or so, you just had 2 deputy sheriffs who were, I think they were suspended or something like that. So it goes through a process, suspension, being fired. Then once they're fired from the department, then you're going to usually find some type of, you may find criminal charges being filed. But it goes through a whole process. So this is going to take a lot of time. And we've had this discussion before. Unfortunately, many of our people don't understand law, and everything that we want is tied to law and politics. OK, so all this is tied to law, politics, economics, history, and understanding how all this works. So we definitely have to understand law. If we understood so some people say that, well, this is the white man's law, things like this. Well, if they use the law to trap you, shouldn't we know all the booby traps are? Shouldn't we know all the pitfalls are so we don't get caught up in it? I would argue we need to understand the law better than they understand the law so we can disarm them of that weapon and use it against them. We have to understand political self-defense.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.